One of the signs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shares with us, one of many signs, is found in Surah Nahl, verses 68 and 69. And pay attention to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying here. He says, "And your Lord inspired to the bee. Take for yourselves amongst the mountains, houses, and amongst the trees, in that which they construct. Then eat from all the fruits, and follow the way of your Lord laid down for you. There emerges from their bellies a drink varying in colors, in which there is a healing for people. Indeed, in that is a sign for people who give thought." This is another beautiful thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does, that once He shares a sign with us, sometimes He tells us to use those people with intellects, those people who reflect. He tells us, use this. Now let's look at the bee. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the bee. Now the amazing thing about the bee, there's many amazing things. I'll share a few with you. One, for a bee to produce 1 teaspoon of honey, 1 teaspoon, just a small teaspoon of honey, it takes around 5,000 visits to a flower. 5,000 visits for a bee to produce 1 small teaspoon of honey. So much trouble that this little insect goes through just to produce 1 teaspoon of honey. Subhanallah. Who inspires it? The bees, they produce so much honey that they don't require this much honey. Who do they produce it for? Who inspires them to produce this much honey? The honey that we drink, the honey that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about, there's healing in it for us. Who inspires them to produce this? Allah. These are signs from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The construction of the beehive itself. Now I studied engineering, and we studied structural engineering to a degree as well. The amazing thing about the beehive, who knows the shape of the hive? The shape that's used to construct the hive, the bees use. Can someone tell me? Hexagonal shape. Does anyone know why? Or not the why, can anyone know some of the wisdoms behind the shape? Why this shape over any other shape? Symmetrical, but there's a few key points. Number one, that particular shape, say if there's an area, I don't know, say 1 meter by meter, yeah? A beehive that's 1 meter by meter. The hexagonal shape that's constructed by the wax of the bees use their wax to construct this shape, this hive. Any other shape will take up too much space with the wax, and you will leave less space for the honey. The most economical, if you like, shape or structure to use is the hexagonal shape, the structure, in this space. Say if there's 1 meter by meter of a hexagonal shaped hive, and there's 1 meter and meter by of a triangular shaped hive, yeah? The triangular shaped hive will take up too much space, the wax will take up too much space, but they're so economical, it's the best shape to use. Not only this, structurally, it's the most sound shape. If you look at the strength to weight ratio of this particular shape, it's the most sound, it's the strongest shape to use. Who tells the bee this? The bee is no bigger than the tip of our fingers. It's not bigger than the tip of our fingers. If a human being, we took centuries coming up, when we look at structural engineering, we took centuries to come up with the best shapes to use in construction. That are the lightest but the strongest. But who inspired this bee that's smaller than our fingertip? Allah. Allah did. Not only this, if we look further, the hive itself, it's not straight. You know the hive, the hexagonal shape doesn't go straight through. It's tilted. It's slightly tilted so the honey doesn't run back out of the hive. SubhanAllah, sign after sign after sign. Just from the bee. And this is the thing, when we read the Quran, we shouldn't just superficially read the verses. May Allah allow us all to do this, to ponder upon the Quran more. Because when we read each verse, we need to study these verses, ponder over them, reflect over them, because when we do, it truly allows us to appreciate the creative power of Allah. It allows us to submit to Allah even more. When we see these beautiful miracles that surround us.